Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WWE Crown Jewel Prediction Show here on Fightful. I'm Stephanie Chase, and I am joined by, from Brass Ring Media and Sports Illustrated, Zack Heydorn. Hello, Zack. How are you?
I'm doing good, Stephanie. Thanks so much for having me. Always fun to chat wrestling with you. So this is good. I appreciate the invite.
I know we've talked wrestling so much in the past, but I feel like we haven't done it in quite a while, have we?
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been
It
a
has
bit.
been a
So
while.
high time that we get together for a show, and this is a good one to, as we said off air. This is a good one to get to. It's a pretty good card.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out how you're feeling about WWE at the minute, because that's definitely something we haven't. I think probably the last time we talked about WWE, it was in a much different place to where we are right now. But yeah, everyone, it's Crown Jewel. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern start tomorrow, right? I need to remember
1
that.
p.m. Eastern.
On Saturday.
I'll take it. I like these afternoon cards.
I like the afternoon cards too. They're nice for me while I'm currently on Eastern time, and they're nice back home as well.
There you go.
And it's Halloween today. Yes, as Maria says, happy Halloween, everyone. Happy Halloween. Are you dressing up today, Zack?
I'm not dressing up. I'm just hoping it doesn't rain. Because I got two little ones, a 5 and a 3-year-old, who are both like super excited, to go trick or treating and all that. So it's going to be complete pandemonium. But it is raining currently.
Yeah,
and we just need that rain to hold up. But no costume. But I'll be doing all the Halloween traditions today.
Oh, are your kids dressing up?
They are. One of them is going to be a bumblebee. The youngest is a bumblebee, and the other one is is going to be Ladybug Girl from a TV show that she watches. So she's got the whole getup, the cape, the mask, the wig. She's pretty pumped.
Nice.
Pretty pumped, so
that's so cute. That's so cute. Well, before we can get to the festivities, we must travel to Saudi Arabia to cover
yes,
and everyone watching, you get your predictions in as well. And before we start, let's, as always, hear from our overlord, Sean Lossap, and our sponsor, Bet Online.
Whoa! You can bet on wrestling? Yeah, you can at BetOnline AG. We've given you a bunch of underdog picks over at Fightful since we started to work with BetOnline AG, but well before they were a partner, that's where we got our odds from for years. Whether it be major shows or your Continental Classics and other things like that, they always have a bunch of interesting odds for you over at BetOnline AG. But it's not just that. Payouts in minutes, high credit card acceptance, a safe and secure environment, and they've been trusted for over 25 years. They got the earliest lines, the fastest payouts, and the ability to bet on wrestling. How cool is that? If you think you know so much about this, go put your money down. Go do it. Show the world. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can. BetOnline AG.
BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly. All right, Zack, let's get into it. And up first, I'm just going to do these in a really random order of what jumps out to me. Okay, so let's start with one that I'm not that sure about. For the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, a fatal four-way. We have the champions Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, Damage Control, Kairi Sane and Io Sky, Metaphor, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. What do you think about this one, Zack? How do you see it going?
So this is an interesting one. I think you can convince yourself that it could go a lot of ways because they've just had so much mixing of the teams in regular tag matches. You've had Damage Control against Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. You've had Damage Control against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. You have Piper Niven and Chelsea Green involved in it all and costing people matches. So I think you could convince yourself hey, maybe this is going to go a different way. To me, though, when I see this as we don't really have a good tag team feud to go with here. So let's throw a bunch of tag teams in the mix and then then have a match because there's 4 teams. It's going to be crazy. That's how I'm doing this. And so I just don't think any of those other teams are over enough right now to take down Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. And I think soon enough we'll be on the road to a match between those two. You know, I don't think that their tag team has too much shelf life left with WrestleMania looming and that build like starting. So, but you save them losing the titles, I think, until you get that story going, or at least maybe you use it as a means to kickstart it. And I don't think it's starting yet, soon, but just not yet. So I think that you see Jade and Bianca retain here and just continue on with building their relationship up and for it to be broken down later.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jade and Bianca are going to win. I could see them losing the titles maybe at Survivor Series, something a little closer to the end of the year, and then breaking up via a Rumble spot. Something going like wrong in there. I would love to see Chelsea and Piper win them, just because I think like Chelsea's been so great and they would actually do something fun with them and they're great characters. But I think we're just gonna stick it out with like Bianca and Jade. Like there's no real point in breaking them up right now or taking the titles off them. I think it's gonna be an easy win for them.
Yeah, and I just think that like, you know, I think that like WWE still has some work to do, you know, when it comes to their women's tag division, if they want it to be like a true division. And you know, they're getting there. Like there's some pieces, some seeds out there that you could see. You know, the Damage Control team is being built up. Obviously, you've got, you know, Jade and Bianca. They're pushing the Meta-4 thing. Chelsea, as you said, Chelsea and Piper Niven are both, you know, kind of really kind of fun characters. So they're starting to be kind of that foundation. But I think to really like grow it, you got to have like your top stars in that division be the champions. Yeah. And so in this case, I think they need to be on Bianca and Jade for at least a little while longer.
And I think Jade, she's coming along, but not enough to take her away from being with someone like Bianca and the security of just doing tag team wrestling as opposed to like putting her out there as a single star. I just don't think she's there yet. All right. Thank you. Let's go now to LA Knight versus Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. Andrade and Carmelo have had 7 matches now, and then LA Knight got involved. He was the referee on SmackDown, right? Am I remembering this right? And then he got involved, and now we have a triple threat for this one. So, I feel like I think I would like to see Carmelo win this one, but I'm not sure I'm not sure how that works though as well, because then if he won, would we just be back in the place of him and Andrade? This is one of those, like, I don't like triple threat matches anyway, but it's one of those like silly setup ones as well. Like I don't like how they did it. And LA Knight is a good person as United States champion, and I can't see like Andrade being any better at it. I'm still not totally like sold on him coming in, but I guess I'll just go for the easy option of LA Knight retaining. But do you see anything here on a deeper level of what they're doing with these 3 guys?
Oh, gosh, honestly, I wish I could say I did, just to make the show a little more compelling. Yeah. But I think that, look, I mean, I don't think you ever want to have like a major title change take place in like a triple threat format, especially one that's just kind of tossed together. I think the future of that title is with Carmelo Hayes. I think he gets his hands on it eventually. But here, when I look around the card, like I think it's going to be like and you'll see my predictions here. Like I think it's going to be a very like heel driven card where they'll be looking for like babyface stuff to happen, like at some point throughout the show. And like to me, like this is an obvious one. Like put LA Knight over. It's a triple threat match. You can do a singles match again, you know, with Carmelo Hayes, and then do the title change. So you could be kind of tempted to pull the trigger and put Carmelo Hayes over here, but again, I just think that singles match and winning your title by just beating the other guy, even if it's still tactics, it's better for you as like a new champion than it is kind of like falling into it during a triple threat. There's not a lot of oomph behind that win. So I'm also taking LA Knight for that reason only. Nothing against Hayes. I just don't think this is the right time for it. Soon, but not yet.
I think LA Knight is obviously popular everywhere, but I think he'll be especially popular in Crown Jewel. I think it was maybe like just under 2 years ago where he wasn't on a Saudi show and it became like a big thing because the crowd were cheering for him so much. And I think I agree that when we talk more about other matches, it may be heel heavy and he'll be a definite babyface here. So you get a nice moment on the show. We have a super chat here from Will Chism. Thank you, Will. Talking about the women's tag match. Will says, I think Naomi and Bailey will face Jade and Bianca. Ever since Naomi came back, she's been linked to Bianca and Bailey, but Bianca still hates Bailey and Naomi will have to choose a side. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening, like the work that they're doing with the Naomi and Bailey causing tension with Bianca, which might spill over between Bianca and Jade as well. So yeah, good point, Will. I do think that Naomi and Bailey will end up getting in this mix.
I do too. And yeah, it's just another team that they have that they can put in the division and that can go up against Bianca and Jade. So. And not only that, but like you said, Will, it can further other storylines too. So yeah, I think it's a good call out, and another reason why Jade and Bianca likely are going to win that match.
For sure. Okay, up next, let's do Seth freaking Rollins versus Bronson Reed. I've enjoyed so much what they're doing with Bronson Reed. I think it's exactly the type of thing that we have been asking for a really long time, for them to just get behind someone and go with him. And, his initial attack on Seth was extremely memorable. I loved Raw, I think it was 2 weeks ago when it started with them brawling. That was really great as well. I think everyone's only worry is what happens to Bronson when this ends, if it will be a continued push, or is this a kind of a one-off like moment for him just for this match with Seth. But here, I think I'm going to back Bronson here in the hope that they're actually really, really going with him and have him like take an upset victory over Seth. I think. How have you felt about the Bronson Reed push and Seth?
I really like what they've done with Bronson Reed too. I think that he's a different kind of guy, like a different kind of performer. You can't necessarily, book him the same way to get over because he just is different. He doesn't have the same kind of matches. He doesn't have the same kind of promos. He doesn't have the same kind of look. So you got to like lean into what he is and what about him can make an impact. And they've just hit the nail on the head. It's that tsunami off this, tsunami through that. Like, it's like, that's an easy formula, and he's looked like a total badass, like as he's been built up.
It makes me think so much about what they're currently doing in AEW right now. Not talking about AEW, but it's a lot of these guys that have been around for like 5 years and how they haven't reached their potential. And then you just think how easily they did that with Bronson Reed, just, having him saying he would take his moment like from Adam Pearce and then just going out and destroying Seth Rollins. And now all of a sudden Bronson Reed, that was kind of floundering, has a match with Seth Rollins, and we're all just praising. Like, sometimes it can be that simple to just get like some heat with a guy.
Yeah, I mean, and then once you find it, you got to lean into it fully and give it like the room to grow and room to breathe. And I think that's what they've done with Bronson Reed. Look, like, in a year from now, we can't necessarily be seeing the same Bronson Reed shtick every week. Like, you'll have to find something different eventually. But that depth to his character will unveil itself as he continues to get over. For now, you're still in that initial process, that initial phase of showcasing him to the audience in a new way and in an impactful way. So yeah, you lean into what's working, and they've done that great. I think Seth has sold for him excellently. Like I thought, like telling people in the ring this week on Raw that, hey, I found my inner monster, like really kind of connects the dots of the whole story. And so I wondered, like, if this, when it started, was like, all right, we need to write Seth off, so let's get something out of it. Let's put Bronson Reed over. It's tsunamis and whatever, and then whatever happens after happens after. And I kind of think that, like, Bronson Reed, to your point, has earned another look as far as like to be a featured guy with how he's done within this. Like, I think it's over. I think people want to see him on the show. So I'm also going with Bronson Reed here. And I would be doing it under the precipice of it. This isn't going to be a one-match thing. Like, I don't think Bronson Reed beats Seth and then moves on to something else. I think they probably have multiple matches. So I fully expect Seth Rollins in the end to win this feud, and he's the babyface. So he should. But on this night, on this show, this afternoon, I guess, I think Bronson Reed takes it because, you know, you got to feed, as I just talked about, you got to like feed what's working. And if he loses his first like kind of match against Seth, like it kind of all just like fizzles and falls apart at that point. Yeah. So he needs this win, and I think he gets it.
Yeah, me too. Seth, he'll triumph in the end, but for now, it's more important to keep Bronson strong than it is to give Seth Rollins another win. Let's move on to the first of our champion versus champion matches. We have Liv Morgan, the Raw Women's Champion, versus Nia Jax, the SmackDown Women's Champion. Just in general, what do you think of them doing this gimmick, this champion versus champion gimmick for these shows in this quite hideous belt?
The belt is obnoxious. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's so bad, and the way they like polish it and treat it, it's just like, oh, good grief. But I kind of like this kind of gimmick as like an ongoing thing at this show. You get your champion versus champions, and that winner wins that year's Crown Jewel championship. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, look, it's silly, you know, and we know why it's there. The Saudis want something special and something big, and so let's just give them a huge belt and call it the Crown Jewel title. Like, okay, I get
That's how I feel. Like they always try and create something, whether it's like the greatest Royal Rumble or like best in the world or whatever. And this seems like the least offensive of all the things that they can possibly create, as long as these matches are booked well. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, well, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Like, this is the best of like what I kind of deem like bad options. Like, this is better than a Greatest Royal Rumble. It's better than a Best in the World tournament. It's fine. Now, it's going to come with issues, you know, and I think this women's match is one of them. You've got two heels that are both kind of looking to get heat. They're colliding head on, and therefore, like, nobody really cares about. I don't think anybody cares who wins. It seems like they almost kind of dropped the whole feud, you know, where like for the first couple of weeks of the build, they had different angles to like kind of put Liv and Nia in a situation. And then the last couple of weeks, it's been like, oh, forget it. Like, we're just whatever. Like, we're just going to do the match and that's it. And I think that's what's going to happen here. And I think they, you know, you book yourself into a bit of a corner. Cody and Gunther, which we'll get to, works better because it's a clear babyface, clear heel. Okay. That works better. This is like two heels that nobody, not even like kind of likes. Like, it's not even like a Kevin Owens heel. It's just, and I say that with respect to both Nia and Liv for playing that heel part. But when you put two heels together, it's like, you know, here in Chicago when the Vikings and the Packers play each other. Like, I don't have a rooting interest in that. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's what's happening here. So I'm going to take Liv here. Just because I think that there's, you know, a storyline like card to play around Nia losing with Tiffany. And I think Tiffany could accidentally cost her and like kind of like furthering like the divide, you know, between them. And also I just think Liv Morgan, you know, any time that you can give her credibility from like an in-ring standpoint as like a winner is important. Because she doesn't get enough of it. She's working Rhea. That's the big overarching story. Like, the more you can give her, I think helps with that in the end. And so, and I think she will just be way more efficient talking about herself as the Crown Jewel champion. Like, I think that'll be obnoxious and like classic Liv Morgan heel. So I'll take Liv.
I think that Liv is the more important to them of the two women, because I think that Nia's title reign feels very set up for Tiffany to be the next champion. And that's what we're watching. And I'm still convinced that Tiffany won't lose the briefcase until after Christmas. As much as people say that people have already bought it, no, like I do think she's keeping that. And Liv, we just saw her take out Rhea Ripley. Like, it's come out that Rhea Ripley is going to be out for a while, and they set that up on NXT. And I think now that does mean that Liv is going to have to find herself another feud, which might be kind of hard because her whole existence in Raw has been built around Rhea Ripley. So that might cause them a bit of a problem. But just the very fact that she is Rhea Ripley's rival and they will undoubtedly have a match again, I think it's more important to keep Liv strong than Nia, who can always... Nia, it's so much easier for her to play the heel that stuff goes wrong for, or that she's angry that she lost or something like that, than it is for Liv and her character. So I 100% think that Liv is winning this. I don't think it's going to be a good match, unfortunately, but I think Liv is going to win.
Yeah, I think you're probably looking at like maybe the worst match of the night with this one. Not that we want to call that out. It just doesn't have the pieces to be much, between the two heels and limitations that Nia has, limitations that Liv has. It's just, it doesn't have the makings for like a 5-star classic. That's for sure.
Yeah. And they're two characters who seem to exist in such a small world. Like, Gunther feels like the champion of Raw, like crossover, feels like he could interact with everyone. And Liv is so boxed into this Rhea Judgment Day stuff, and Nia in a way feels like that too on SmackDown with her storyline, where it's just, I think when this idea came about, it does totally work with Gunther and Cody. We'll get to that. That will be exciting, but not so much here, but they got to do it. Okay, Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Were you a fan of how they set this up on SmackDown with Triple H? Because I wasn't so much. I felt like I didn't think it was very well performed, like from both Randy or Paul, to be honest. And I just felt like this is going to have to be something very extreme to justify Triple H wanting to be this protective of Randy Orton, of all people, who I know has been injured, but like, this guy looks like an absolute monster, like no one as the legend killer, RKO out of nowhere guy, and then all of a sudden Triple H doesn't want him facing Kevin Owens, who yes has all this history, but is, it's not as if Kevin Owens is booked like a Brock Lesnar or someone where you think he could probably kill you. So I think that the way they set it up has put expectations on the match that they might not be able to deliver on. What do you think?
I agree 100%. I don't even have, I'm not sure how much I can add to that. Like, I just think like Triple H's involvement was just so out of the blue. Like, they did not do enough like for a backstory to warrant that type of like kind of response from Triple H. It's like, okay, he got attacked backstage. It's like everybody gets attacked backstage. Everybody. Like that happens so often on Raw and SmackDown and NXT. Like, it's constant. It's so like, why? Like, it's not like Kevin Owens did this like way worse attack than anybody else. It's like he was attacked. Like a couple weeks before that, he attacked Cody. It's just it just seemed like a very weird. Like we got to try to give this. We don't feel strongly enough about where this is, so let's put Triple H in there and try to jolt it up. And I instead of jolting it up, I just kind of rolled my eyes, like, wait a minute, like, you're trying to get us to buy that this is some crazy, vicious, dangerous Kevin Owens, and it's just not that at this point. So I think it's kind of flat because of that. I do think Kevin Owens should win this match. Because it seems like they're going somewhere with him. You know, that they're taking him someplace, whether it's going to be Cody or whether it's going to be more Randy stuff. But either way, I think Kevin Owens, he rarely wins these matches. Like, rarely does he win like a big match. And, you know, Randy will be fine. You know, Randy's Randy. Like, he's not going to get hurt by losing here. So I think they put Kevin Owens over strong, and the storyline, whatever they're going to do with him, keeps going. But it kind of all ends if Randy just wins. So I'll take KO.
They have the bones of a good story with Kevin being angry with Cody for teaming with Roman and all that history. Like, they've got that there. I did feel a couple weeks when this started, when Randy initially went after, like, confronted Kevin, it was quite well acted. But I did hear people say when Triple H came out that they, you know, enjoyed the realism of seeing Triple H and Gorilla and the way it was. And I just was like, that took me out of it. Like, seeing Triple H sitting at his desk and then taking his glasses off for Motorhead to play and him come out, it was just like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you're propping him up as this. We all know that he's in charge, but like actually showing him like that as being the guy sitting watching it all, and then Randy like forcing him out, and he comes out to his, you know, Motorhead theme that he's always going to use. Just to me, I was a bit like, this is silly, guys. Like, you know, this is really silly.
Yeah, definitely like ego play for Triple H, but but also like, what? So why does Randy call out Triple H? Like, Nick Aldis is like the SmackDown GM. You know, it's like totally like skipped over a layer there, and just again, it just felt like a hot shot. Oh, we need something here. Let's put Triple H in, and rarely is that a good strategy. I feel like in 2024, like, you got to save it for when it really matters. And I just think this is a mid-card match that, you know, you could argue whether or not it even deserves a spot on this show. And then Triple H is involved in it. It's like, you got to save that. So this, I'm with you. This did not work for me.
You would think Triple H would have bigger problems with some of the shit that's been going down.
Yes, of course.
Like,
definitely. Yeah.
It reminded me of when, and I know they've kind of changed things this week, but like 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, freaking Christopher Daniels was getting involved in like Mariah May throwing Anna Jay's luggage. Like, that was the most important thing going on when there was like all this other stuff where it's like, okay, that's where you choose to insert yourself. But yeah, I think Kevin has to win this, or it all makes even less sense.
Yeah.
All right, we have 2 matches left. So I'm going to go with the 6-man tag team match. Roman Reigns, Jay and Jimmy, the reunited Usos versus Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and or Jacob Fatu. Are we just going to assume that it will be Jacob Fatu in this match, and her Tangaloa is going to be on the outside?
I assume that, yeah. I mean, you got to have Jacob.
You would have to.
He's so good right now. It's like he's the only one that like can give like that faction, like, I think the aggression that it needs to kind of like get over. If you don't have him in it, it's like, whoa, pretty weak. So yeah, he's got to be the guy. He's got to be the guy.
Yeah. So at Bad Blood, we had the surprise reappearance of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And I guess that's pushing this story forward as we get closer to Mania season. Who do you think, given the story, who do you think should win here between the reunited bloodline and the new bloodline?
Then that new bloodline has to have a big victory. Like, they, at every turn, you know, they've lost these matches. Solo's lost to Cody a bunch of times. They lost the tag team match to Roman and Cody at Bad Blood. And they try to get some heat back with like attacks and stuff like that, like on SmackDown episodes. But I just don't like you. If you're kind of entering this match and you're going, okay, the end game is War Games at Survivor Series, Bloodline versus Bloodline. like you need to make the new Bloodline faction, to me, significantly more heelish and dangerous and unhinged than they seem right now, and credible than they seem right now. It's like, to me, they just get dusted at every minute, every moment in this feud, and they need like a big, like, definitive win over these guys so that Roman is actually worried about something. Like, he's sitting there talking like, oh God, we really need Jay, we really need Jimmy. And I'm like, well, why? These guys, you've had no problem with them. They're easy. So I think they need to use this match to like really leverage out that these guys are a force to be reckoned with. So they need to win.
This is why I sometimes wonder, though, I think it's quite universally agreed upon that Solo's not the one, right? Especially now Jacob has come in. So sometimes I'm like, are they actually telling a story about Solo's incompetence? And I really felt that when The Rock came out of Bad Blood, right? Because I had thought that I had kind of predicted that might happen, that The Rock might come out. And then I kind of took it as he came out because, yes, Solo is incompetent. And obviously, Jacob Fatu is the person that actually, people fear. And then, was it on Raw that we saw Solo talking to Sammy?
Yes.
That happened on Raw? Yeah. Yep. So sometimes I just have a wondering if like Solo is going to be just like beaten out of his own group in a way. And it's going to have to like crawl back to the rest of his family because The Rock as the final boss will just be like, hey, I picked the wrong guy to do my bidding while I was away. Clearly Solo's not up to it. Though I wonder, is that too complex a story for them? And actually, like, we're just like, the sides aren't going to change. Do you know what I mean? He's very incompetent.
Yeah. I mean, that would hurt Solo, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, he's already kind of ruined. I don't think anybody views him the way that WWE initially thought that they might. And so I don't know, like Rock coming back and doing that. I mean, I think there's a lot of heat there, like a lot of heat. If he just boys Solo out and, and Jay and Jimmy, like, I don't know. I think that they're like good enough, like pro wrestling actors where they could probably get over Solo coming back into the fold because they are brothers. And so I think you could do that. So I think, like, yes, as much as that would like totally undercut everything with Solo, it's probably the better move long term because it's just, he doesn't have the edge that I think that faction needs. It's very, like, with Roman, I think like you felt something there, even if it was him being a jerk, like, man, you felt like, dude, this guy, he's a little off his rocker.
Authority.
He's really good. Like, whoa, what do we, and now it's just like, all right, like Jacob Fatu's pretty cool, but he's like the guy like bowing in the background to Solo. So like that kind of makes him uncool because it's like, why are you doing that, man? Like, you're clearly like the alpha here. So yeah, I mean, I think that they could play that card. I think there'll be a time and a place like for that card to be played if they wanted to. I don't know that it's Saturday, but I mean, to me, like anything at this point to kind of get Solo out of there, if it makes sense, I think is probably like the best way to go. I mean, he just doesn't have it in my eyes.
So who are you picking as the winners? The Bloodline? Solo? Tama?
Yeah, new Bloodline. Yep. Solo and company. Yep.
Yeah. I'll go with them too, just because, it does feel like they have to get something if they're going to build this up. And I don't think, do you think we get another Dwayne appearance? Is he going to come all the way to Saudi Arabia?
I would say that's the thing. I don't think he's coming over to Saudi Arabia.
No, I don't think he is either.
Yeah, I don't think he is. So maybe like Survivor Series, you get one from him, or maybe in the build, like if they've got this Bloodline versus Bloodline thing set for War Game, maybe he kind of comes back. But yeah, I don't think he's making that trip to Saudi Arabia. I don't think that he'd want like the publicity that would come along with that. So no, I think he's good.
they've done like quite a good job of making Survivor Series like important again. Especially, last year we had CM Punk debuting, and I can see Dwayne being like, "Hey, I'll hold off any appearances till Survivor Series." I think he'll come.
Yeah, me too.
Come over the border.
They don't really like. I mean, as much as the Saudi Arabia would want him there, like it's a paid for show. They don't need him there. The storyline doesn't necessarily call for him to be there right now. So just leave it for something that you can get more out of. So yeah,
for sure. All right, our main event, we have Gunther, Raw World Heavyweight Champion, versus Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE Champion. I think this is going to be a really good match, really great, and I'm really excited for it. I absolutely love Gunther, and I love everything they've done with him. And I'm just going to say it. I think he needs to win this match. I think that Cody is obviously on this path connected to the bloodline and Roman and Dwayne and everything that's going on there. And I think Cody losing is something that we can easily get over because there's so much going on with him. But with Gunther, who is going to have to go back to the world of Raw, which doesn't have such a overarching storyline, like who knows who's next for him. Maybe it's CM Punk. Just throwing his name out there. I think it's going to look bad on him if he's just taken a pinfall. But if he can come back and is the guy that just beat Cody, then I think that's something. So I think that Gunther is going to win. And I also hope Gunther is going to win. I think he needs it.
I 100% agree with that and your analysis there. I just, Cody, there's lots of outs for him in this one. I mean, Kevin Owens can get involved. Randy can get involved. Like, there's so many different ways you can protect Cody in this. But I also don't think you necessarily need to. I think Gunther has beaten enough opponents throughout his time in WWE where, a win over Cody is believable. I do think they'll probably protect Cody somehow here. So I don't think you're looking at a clean finish at all. But Gunther does need this. Like, what he brings to the table as a heel is that he talks a lot of trash and he's rude and he's disrespectful, but he backs it up and he wins. And it's frustrating for the fans because he's always winning and he's dominant. Like, you don't want to chip away at that too soon in his run. And so part of a great way to make sure he keeps that aura around him is to win matches. That's how he got the Intercontinental title over. Like, he just beat everybody, and sometimes winning is not everything, but it is like a very valuable booking tool to like get somebody over. And so I agree with you here. Like, Gunther needs this. Cody's got outs. And even if he doesn't, Cody's Cody. He's kind of Teflon at this point. So I am going with Gunther here too.
Yeah, I think that Cody, he has all the storyline stuff going on, and we could get interference from KO or someone like that. And then I felt that, like with the promo on Raw, Gunther's bringing up all the stuff that Cody does. Like, Cody puts himself out there as champion. He's doing media. He's doing charity work. And we all know that that's true, and that's the kind of face of the company that Cody wants to be. And Gunther was saying, like, I don't do any of that stuff. And I thought that was quite a good way setting this up, because you can always put it that Cody does kind of have the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he puts that on himself. Like, he wants to do that. Whereas Gunther is just that serious, just pure athlete that's just training, and that's it. And therefore, like, he could easily pin Cody clean and it wouldn't be that bad for Cody. But I don't think they're brave enough to do that, because as much as it makes sense, it is pretty brave to have your number one babyface world champion just pinned at a show. I don't think they're that brave.
And especially since, like, you think that Cody's got some big stuff coming up, right? I mean, Kevin Owens aside, Randy coming aside, I mean, he's got stuff with The Rock that could be on the horizon. He's got stuff with Roman Reigns that can be on the horizon. John Cena is going to be coming back. Like, so I don't even know that in this instance I would advocate for him doing a clean job. I just think he could overcome one. But I don't think. I mean, I certainly wouldn't put my money there. I think it's more likely Kevin Owens or Randy get involved somehow and cost them the match.
Me too. But I think it's going to be a great match.
Yeah. I mean, I just imagine like Cody's chest is just going to be like just beat to like little teeny tiny pieces. I think I can just see Cody going, "Hey, dude, just 20 of them, just bring it," because Cody is masochistic that way.
He really is. This is the man that let himself get whipped on TV.
Yes, and lit himself on fire on accident. Yeah.
Lit himself on fire. Oh God, I remembered that last week. I was talking about that last week on my Dynamite review. Like, remember the time Cody set himself on fire?
So this guy won't do anything to get a match over.
He's he feels like a different person now, but in his heart, he is the same person. He is the guy that will light himself on fire.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that was Crown Jewel, and thank you everyone for watching. That was really fun, and a 7-match card. Usually, that felt like a kind of good length because they've been pretty short recently, which I do love because I do like shorter shows. But yeah, that feels like it was a bit more pay-per-view worthy length of a card too.
Yeah,
Zach, thank you so much for joining me, and tell everyone where they can find and follow you online.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's so much fun. I always enjoy chatting wrestling with you. And you can get more of my work in really 2 places. Brass Ring Media is one of them. We over there, we have a YouTube channel and a Substack newsletter where you can read our work. So search Brass Ring Media Substack, totally free. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for free too. We've got live shows from me and others on the team every day of the week. So you can check that out. You can also check out my work over at Sports Illustrated. I write for them and the team there. So check me out there and follow me on Twitter X at Zack_Heydorn. That's ZACK _Heydorn. So hopefully you do. I'll be tweeting and doing stuff and working during Crown Jewel. So catch me there.
Yeah, guys, if you don't already follow Zach, absolutely do. Check out all the Brass Ring Media stuff. You're posting like every day. You work so hard on it, and the Substack as well. If you want to see me, guys, on my channel tomorrow, I'm going to do my Dynamite review. I usually do it on Thursdays, but today's Halloween, and I just feel like it's just not a good day to be doing another show. So that should be tomorrow, probably 1 Eastern. Over at Stephanie Chase Wrestling. I'll be talking Dynamite. I have a lot to say about that. Find me on Substack as well at Stephanie Chase. And if you want to hear more from me, I was on the Pro Wrestling Torch flagship this week with Wade Keller. We were talking politics in wrestling. Quite the topic.
You guys were great on that show. I want to put that over big. Like, it was a compelling conversation, respectful, important. Like, all three of those things is what I was thinking throughout it. So guys, check that out. It's high level stuff.
Thank you, Zach. That's really nice. It was something very different, from the usual wrestling talk. But I like getting into topics like that, and you'll see that if you do check out my Substack. And the next time you'll see me on Fightful will be for Full Gear, which is coming up on November 23rd. So I'll be back here predicting Full Gear in a couple of weeks. But until then, thank you again, Zach, and bye.
See you guys.